Good afternoon. I'm Luis Vivanco. I am professor of anthropology and director of the UVM Humanities Center. And I want to start by saying I am an avid participant observer of bike lanes. I'm weird like Brendan's daughter. I'm a cultural anthropologist, and my ethnographic research focuses on the meanings, the social institutions, the spatial dynamics, and the mobility histories that shape everyday bicycle use around the world. I've also been immersing myself in social movements that promote bikes to create healthier, happier, and especially greener cities, studying how new imaginaries of green urbanism, even planetary futures, are being tested and contested through bicycles. So it is that a couple of years ago, I found myself in Bogota, Colombia, a city in which bicycles are playing a protagonistic role in green urbanist initiatives and imaginaries. It is, according to some, a biking paradise with the most extensive bicycle system in the Americas. One of the things that drew me to Bogota was its ciclorutas. These are special protected bike lanes separated from automobile traffic, also known as cycle tracks. And my question was, what role does this kind of infrastructure play in promoting and shaping everyday bicycle use? So early in my fieldwork, I was riding with two of the city's young bicycle activists to familiarize myself with getting around on a ride that traversed some 60 blocks in the north of the city center. And for much of the trip, we were riding on the street parallel to one of the city's main ciclorutas. Looking over longingly, I asked why we weren't using it. One of the riders yelled back at me, "The cicloruta is slow and inconvenient. Too many people walking on it, too many cross streets." Not 5 minutes later, however, my companions made an instantaneous decision to swerve onto the cicloruta. Now riding at high speed on the narrow lane built on an expanded sidewalk, we came upon a pair of pedestrians in our way. One of the activists shouted over to me, "This is our space. We have to teach them to stay out of it." She blew sharply into the whistle hanging on her helmet strap, and startled, they stepped aside. We sped on, though eventually we got back on to the road with motorized traffic. Now, this fleeting incident brought to my awareness not just the jarring use of whistles, but certain subtleties, the ephemeral nature of tension between pedestrians and bicyclists, the creative and informal choreography of getting around the city, a context for bike politics claims making, and especially the situational nature of involvement with the ciclorutas. And in fact, this last point was a common pattern. Situational use, even avoidance, is widespread. Bicycle counts show that only 1/3 of trips use the ciclorutas in spite of their common availability. Why don't people use infrastructure available for them and built just for them? Isn't it the case that if you build it, they will come? While induced demand models still dominate in traditional transportation research, the short answer is that in any field of dreams, people are not automatons. A longer answer would focus on the traffic cultures, those informal norms, codes, and practices outside of formal law, specific to particular countries, cities, and even neighborhoods. In Bogota, they even have a term for this. They call it cultura vial, or traffic intelligence. And my research uncovered a complex matrix of ideas and practices of urban bicycle use that is shaped by factors like socioeconomic class, gender, fear of urban space, the neighborhood being traversed, and so on. So there's important ambiguity in Bogota's experience with cycle tracks. They built it. People kind of came. They sort of used it under certain circumstances. This is not to say that such green urbanist investments are wasted. They're crucial steps towards reimagining what and who urban streets are for. But I do think effective infrastructure should not begin with a build it and they will come logic. Rather, it must start with a practical, culturally informed curiosity about matters like local traffic cultures, for example, but also matters that have little to do on the surface with transportation at all, including people's aspirations, fears, socioeconomic position, attitudes towards the city, and the list goes on, which I learned in Bogota also contribute to the meanings and practices of everyday bicycle use. Thank you very much.